Hello, everybody. This is Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York, on a day that it's hot and humid and muggy and typical summer day. And I think Wall Street is feeling the effects of the weather, as today is a red bit of a bloodbath on the street. We're going to get right into the averages. We're going to get right into some of the tip-offs as to which way the market may bounce, up or down or sideways. Let's take a look at who's with us today. Hello, nobody's here. Goodbye. I always get these spam phone calls during the show, it seems. Maybe somebody's purposely spamming me during the show. Dan is with us today, sitting in cash. Cash is a position. Cash is king. Waiting patiently for a good entry on TGTX. We need big tax for TGTX. Maybe we'll give a look at TGTX today. Andrew is with us. Let's see what he has to say. He's talking to Dan. He likes hedging by being in cash, albeit he thinks somewhere between 50% and 90% feels right. And he wants to know how long Dan's been in cash. Dr. J is mostly in cash, by the way, if I might join this conversation. Dan, 100% cash since last week. All-time highs in the Dow were assigned to me. Pullback is in order. It is feeling toppy. I tend to agree with Dan. Andrew, Dan, are you excited about any of the weekly favorite bios here besides TGTX? BioChris, Alberio, and Anovis. Let's see what Dan has to say. I'll tell you, Dr. J is not too excited about any bios lately. If you look at the XBI, if you look at LABU, even if you look at the IBB, all very weak charts. We're going to look at some of them. Dan is waiting for sub 33 bucks on TGTX. The Alzheimer's plays are too volatile, and Sava and Anovis he expects to pull back after the conference. In fact, it's always like that. Whenever you have a big conference, generally there's no significant new news, and the stocks that have been live going into the conference in anticipation get slammed. So that's very typical. Alberio is a falling knife, says Dan, and BCRX will sell off after earnings. We're not having a happy conversation here, but I can say that I disagree with Dan and Andrew. Andrew agrees. Yeah, makes sense. I'm hoping for another entry into Novus around 100. I think you might get that today, Andrew, the way things are going. And Novus is an excellent company, but about 3 years out from an approved drug, in my opinion. Lots of time to pull back for a buy, says Dan A. I love this conversation. Who needs Dr. J? Let's just read the chat board. Chris, dumped all my elbow, DMTK, CRISPR, and Athesis. Chris is joining the Dump Everything Club. Dr. J dumped all his Chinese stocks this morning. I might as well join the conversation. VBIB bounced nicely off support, notes Chris. Maybe we'll give that a look. Sean says, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you, Sean. Man, holding the line alone today. Yes, Dr. J is holding the line alone. I've been abandoned by Jake, who's too busy to ever come on, and Arjun, who's vacationing in South America, and Professor Spike, who has a very big anniversary today. So it's Dr. J holding the line alone. I'm not alone. I'm with Andrew, Chris, Dan, Sean. I've got everybody with me. Not alone, far from alone. Andrew, good morning, Dr. J. We got to 100 on Tandem. Wondering about AMD. Will we get to 100? Yes. Yes. Maybe. All right, so let's take a look at what I wanted to chart and some of the global stuff. I want to look at IWM, and then we'll come back to the kibitzes on the chat. RMF is here today. A lot of the regulars are joining us as we speak. If you're not a regular in terms of the chat group, join us. Pete is with us today. So it's a lively group, all very astute traders. Join the chat group. We'd love to have you. I'm just going to say hello to Pete. Pete, how you been doing, buddy? All right, let's look first at the rut. The rut is in a rut. It is for one index that is not broken out. The S&P, of course, has been the very picture of a bull market. But since the beginning of the year, let's see how far back this is, 128. Since the very beginning of the year, looking at the daily chart of the rut, you see that we're in a little bit of a rut from about a low of 2066 to a trading range high of around 2360. So we're really not moving that much. We tend to be moving sideways on the Russell 2000, which is indicative of a market that can't quite make up its mind whether the next big move up, whether the next big move will be up or down. It's tested both the top and the bottom several times and has always bounced up from the lows and down from the highs. It is a bull market in that the 50 is slightly above the 100. It's quite a bit above the 200, but the 9-day is showing weakness, crossing both the 50 and the 100. So the rut is iffy right now. It's probably the iffiest of the indices right now, and that's largely because it includes many biotechnology stocks, and biotech has not been a star in this market for the most part, outside of a few exceptions, the Alzheimer's drug stocks, and I can't think of too many more exceptions. But let's take a look at the IWM. I think we'll get a similar picture. In fact, we have an identical picture pretty much. The trading range, of course, is 1/100th, 1/1000th of the trading range of the rut, rather. So the trading range is from about 206 to about 236. So it's about a 30-point trading range. That's about a 15% range from 200 to 236 would be an 18% move, but we're really looking at 206. So it's about a 15% range, either direction. If you catch it perfect on the lows, you can make a 15% gain, and the other way around, you can short it for 15%. That's what's been happening. Now, eventually, it's going to break out of this trading range and give us clear direction as to the overall markets. So I would say that even though the bull has been roaring since the beginning of the year, that the overall market is not participating. It's really the S&P 500 and the Dow. So be careful here. There's a lot of toppiness in the market. I feel it in my gut, so to speak, considering how long I've been trading. I see a lot of stocks that I would normally be in, I had to exit from because they were making my sell targets instead of my take profit targets. So it's an iffy market, let's put it that way. Let's go back to StreamYard and see what people want. What do people want? XBI is one that people want. And the question RMF Consulting is asking, do we hold support at 2106? All right, let's take a look at XBI. Good question, RMF. XBI. If you look at the macro stuff, you get a really good feel for the overall market. So the indices are the clue. And the very, very important line in the sand, I'm going to draw it now, is what RMF asked. I'm going to draw it as soon as this chart loads, which is just about now. So hit the draw button and horizontal line. And let's put it right through here. Well, we're heading very close to what I consider the line in the sand, 118.23. That's really the key. If it breaks it with a break of 118.23, this thing could be going to 100, the XBI. Let's take a look at the bigger picture, looking at the weekly. What an ascent from the lows. We had a tremendous rise from the low of 62.94. 62.94, we rose all the way to 174. So that's a huge pop of over 100 points. And that was in a matter of months, right? Very quick pop. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. 3/16/2020. So it's a matter of months that, let's see, 3/16/2020, and when was the high? The high was 2/8/2021. So that's less than a year. So in about a year's time, the XBI went from 66 to 175. Tremendous move. And in that time, that span of time, no less. Now, what if, we're asking a what if we break key support at 118.73? Where might we be going then? Well, the next key low is back in August 31st, 2020 on the weekly, and that's $100. So my gut tells me if we break 118, we might be looking at $100. My gut as well as the chart, more the chart. So will we hold, the question was, will we hold, I forget, 121? Or was that the low the other day? 121.92 was the close. The low 120.64. I don't know if we're holding that. I think the key level is 118. I think we will come down to test this level of 118.23. So my feeling is we're going to go below 120 on the XBI. And the key test is 118.20 something. If it holds that and it puts in a double bottom, that would be a very good sign. But if it doesn't hold that, 100 could be the next stop. So my feeling is the XBI could hold the tip-off here as to whether the whole market corrects 15% or not. From 120 to 100 is a 20-point move, which is about 1.6%, 1.7. I mean, 16%. I could see a 15 to 20% correction coming in the general market. Let's take a look at what our friends have to say about that. I want to back up. So the question was, RMF's question, do we keep support at 120.106? My answer is not in my opinion. Professor Omar is greeting everybody. And Sean is greeting Professor Omar. And Dan A is greeting Omar. And Omar is asked how much cash he's in. And Professor Omar is calling himself a name. Like an idiot, 10%. So you're 90% invested, in other words. Dan is 100% cash, and he's not sure which one of us is the idiot. I say neither one of you guys are an idiot. You're both very intelligent fellows. Professor Omar is in Sava, a novice, CUBI, ATKR, BCRX, and he got killed by the Chinese. Professor Omar, I just sold all my XFEB and my NEO this morning because I couldn't take it anymore. The Chinese are regulating the hell out of tech. I don't know what they're thinking. I think they'll back off. But in the meanwhile, I'm getting killed. I don't want to get killed anymore. So I had to bail. When you have cash position, Professor Omar notes you're in a better position because you can go in right now and you're ahead of him, I guess. But the point is, when you're holding cash, you're holding the cube in backgammon. It's the same thing. You're in control. You can pick your spot to go in big. So cash is a strategic position. Rishi Sunak, a novice will still double within 30 days. Double from 108. Maybe. We're going to take a look at the chart of a novice. I really want this to be your show today. I'm on alone. I'm not going to chart too many stocks. I'm more interested in your thinking and your requests. So I'm paying strict attention to that. Professor Omar, I don't like the way R2K behaved today. Don't like it at all. We could go test the lows. Let's see what RMF has to say. Thanks, Dr. J, for charting the XBI. RMF, what do I think about Albo? Is dilution possible? Yes, dilution is possible, always possible, even though they get 100 million for that priority review voucher, and they're in actually a fairly good position of, I think, about 250 million cash, something like that. Is it possible? Yes. It's possible because they have to commercialize. I think they need to be in as much cash as possible. So it's always possible Will they do it? I think they'll look for a higher stock price before they do it. CTXR, I like it here. What do I think? Marty, we will chart CTXR. I'm going to do it right now before I forget. So we'll come back to see further requests. Marty Simpson wants to see CTXR. We've all been, it seems like many of us have been in and out of this one, making money and losing money, both ways. So what's the story here? What's the story with Yahoo Finance having trouble? Trouble in River City. Try it again. Yahoo Finance. Okay. Let's take a look at where the averages are for the hell of it. The S&P is down 0.75%, or 32 points. The Dow is down 153, or 0.44%. NASDAQ is down 1.8%. The Russell is down 1.8%. Crude oil is down 0.67%. While gold is fractionally up. So that's where we are with the averages. Now let's take a look at CTXR. CTXR. Citius Pharmaceuticals. This is one of the three Fosco plays that Mr. Fosco, when he came on the show, talked about. And I know Man has been in this one big at one time. All right, so Citius Pharmaceuticals is at $1.80. It's been all over the map. The range on the year is 78 cents to $4.56. Let's take a look at the chart. Down 3 pennies today, or 2%. This is the Minoloc for infections of venal catheters, involving venal catheters. A little patience on loading, huh? We need patience. Okay, so we had a collapse back here on June 27th. June 27th, we collapsed from, what was the high? Well, the high, I see, the high was 456. And on June 27th, we had a low of $1.98. That's 50% right there. And since then, we've been going down each week, making new lows. The 50 is about to cross the 200, which is a good sign, I suppose, on the weekly. But, it's one that I can't get excited about looking at the weekly chart. Let's look at the daily for more clues. More clues. The daily chart shows the cascade effect of that fall from the highs even more dramatic. The waterfall down is even more dramatic on the daily chart than on the weekly. And also, just like in the weekly, it's not clear that we've bottomed. We very well might look for support at the 200. yeah, I don't know why, it's an old name that we have made money in the past, but I think it's maybe rushing things to get back in at this time. We have a little trend line going up, but unless it takes out $2.10, I think it's all noise at this point. It's got to take out $2.10 before I get interested. Right now, biotech is dreck, and there's very little reason to buy almost any biotech right now. I'm more in agreement with Dan to be very, very careful here on what you buy, especially in terms of biotech. So my answer is yes, there's some signs of life on CTXR. Yes, you can give it a shot, but I would have a very tight stop loss at 180, at the low here. I don't think I'd buy it. I'm looking at this candle here, and the low is 183. I think we're not done making new lows. I would wait to buy this at $1.75, 12 pennies less, in my opinion. Let's go back to see the comments. All right, so Sean wants to shout Albo. Yes, I'll do that. Albo has been like a falling knife. It's one that Dr. J is not happy about, one of the many that I'm not happy about. Every day you're in Albo, you lose more money. That's been the theme. Today it's down another 2.31% or 68 pennies to 28.80 as of 11:52 a.m. While the chart is loading, there we go. We do see that today we have a reversal from off the lows. So the low that it hit was 28.15. We bounced off nicely off those lows. If it turns green on the day, I would say that maybe it's time to nibble, because we've had so much red since the approval. We've gone down an unbelievable amount from 37.30 all the way to 28.80 on effectively good news, which I might say give some credit to my partner, Professor Spike. He called this one on the nose. He said, well, it'll be approved and then collapse. And that's exactly what it did. We have a very key low here, 27.53. If it goes below that, we could get a really big collapse. So let's take a look at the weekly just to see where this thing might stop. On the weekly, it seems clear that we have support at 22.08. So, I mean, you could stay in this if you're a real believer, like our buddy Arjon, and just keep adding. Eventually, this probably will gain footing and reverse, start going back up. So if you want to average in slowly, I'd say there's an excellent chance you're going to be averaging in on lower prices. Of course, we have a very key support level here at 27.53. So 27.53 could be your line in the sand for Alberio Pharmaceuticals. The next real catalyst, I guess, unless I'm mistaken, will be the next earnings report. And that's 3 months away. So there's very little in the way of news that's going to support this or prop it up. It's just got to find the proper level. And the proper level looks like it's lower, judging from this chart. So keep your eye on this low. If you're in it and want to hold, keep your eye on 2753 with or if you want to try swing trading it, 2753 is a very key level. So Alberio is one that I probably will get rid of at this point. I haven't decided for sure. Man says he has 0 Citius Pharmaceuticals at this point. So, yeah, let's see. JN is still positive on Innovis. CTXR, no catalyst till Q1 2022. I'll buy at $1.50. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Albo needs a strong bounce with high volume today. Otherwise, it is doomed. Professor Omar is not giving much rope to Albo. Hang Albo. Hang it. No, but I agree. I said when I charted it that I wanted to see it turn green today. It has a bounce off the lows. And it doesn't need high volume because it's just not a high volume stop. But it does need to turn green. Man has 0 CTXR at the moment. Next catalyst in December. Not in a hurry to reload. Okay, Man chimes in. Dan is glad he dumped Albo at 36. Never seemed to get much chart strength. You're right, Dan. ONCT, they had dilution. You want me to give that a look? All right, I'll give it a look. Dilution is not a good thing, but it's so common in biotechnology. Companies continually diluting to keep themselves going. This is the Alberio chart. We want ONCT. I said today is your day, friends. It's whatever you request, you're getting. Down 20 cents or 4.81%. That's a chunk. That is a chunk. This is the weekly. The weekly doesn't say much. Let's look at the daily. The weekly shows a downward pattern for the last few months at least. The daily shows a similar yucky look. Again, there's no reason to be in BioDrec. There's very little reason. Everything is, all the pictures are the same. The XBI is miserable. Labu is probably even worse because it's a multiple of the XBI. Let's take a look at Labu. Just to emphasize that biotech is not the place to be. Let's look at the weekly on Labu. Labu came down from a high of 100 and what? 75 or even higher, 180 to today it's trading at 51. So 180 to 51. That's not good. And we're testing a very, very key low on Labu. Low What is this low? I don't know why it keeps jumping off. The low keeps jumping on me. Don't know. I can't quite find it out. Well, it's very close. The low of the day today was 51.09. And if it takes out 50, it looks like it's just going to continue on down. Of course, we have some support right here at 40. But from 50 to 40 is another 10 points. So if it takes out 50, give me 40 on the LABU. Biotech is looking just god awful. Just god awful. In Maria, we trust. That's for Novus. It's not Maria Bartiromo. I don't think it's Maria Bartiromo. I think it's the CEO of Novus. Am I correct, Rishi? You're not talking about Maria Bartiromo, right? Professor Omar's calling Dan's sell at 136 on Alberio Pharmaceutical a great move. I like the fact that you guys like each other. Yes, Dan. TGTX, we're looking for an entry point. You know what? Let me just get this off. It's clearer on the chart. I'm looking for an entry point on TGTX myself. So it's a good thing to look at. TG Therapeutics, cancer drugs, MS drug. Oh, this is a very nice entry point, just where I drew the line, just where I put it just now. I mean, you asked me an easy question. I'll give you the answer because it's sometimes the obvious is the answer. Right at this high, there's two key touches: the high on 1012 and the low on 517. Both of those touch at around what is it? I can't see. 32.30. So let's figure 32.50 is an excellent price. 32.50. That would be right above the support level at 31.95. So 32.50. If you want to try to get it for less, you could try aiming for 32.25. But you can't play it that close to the vest. So 32.50. Okay, let's go back to StreamYard. TG Therapeutics is a buy at 32.50, as it has lots of potential. I mean, there are some biotechs that you can pick up at bargain prices that 5 years from now figure to be much higher, or even a year from now. So I shouldn't condemn all biotechs. Marty, you're quite welcome. I hope it is good advice. Of course, our opinions are strictly our own and do not constitute investment advice. Do your own due diligence, check with an advisor before acting, and any of our ideas or the ideas of our friends, even though they have fantastic ideas, sometimes there are opposing ideas. You have to decide what works for you. And as always, we're asking you to subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can follow Dr. J, Professor Spike, Arjun, Jake, and friends whenever we happen to pop up. We're going to be on tomorrow on a special Wednesday show, Professor Spike and I, at 11:30 tomorrow. So you can mark your calendars. 11:30 tomorrow we'll be back, and on Friday, of course, we'll be back. But in general, you never know when we're going to be on. Sometimes 11, 11:15, 11:30. Could even do an afternoon show sometimes. So please subscribe so you don't miss us, and give us a thumbs up to show love. And of course, you can always buy merchandise that says, what does it say? It says, this is a candlestick. Dr. J explains everything you need to know. All right, that's on stockpicks.com. I want to write that. You go to stockpicks.com and you click on merchandise. I want to get this site back and up and running again. I mean, it's running, but I want to put a little more effort into it and get some more interesting analysis and so on. So I'd like to do that. Let me just put that on the screen. Stockpicks.com. No C, no C. Stockpicks without the C. Professor Omar wants to know if there's any news on TGTX or whether Dan is playing the chart. The support at 3230 is very likely to hold, says Professor Omar. Dan says it's filing a BLA, which is like the new drug application for MS this quarter. Approval in about a year, so looking for the chart to bounce. Okay, Omar's thankful. Such polite people we have on here, such nice people, such smart people. Join us. Innovus data tomorrow. It's a great entry point, in my opinion. Low float will pop. Is it, or will it be a case of sell the news, Rishi? Will it be a case of sell the news? That's been happening like crazy lately, selling the news. Even good news gets sold. Man, can we check MNMD? I'm shorting this one for a few weeks already. A biotech with more red flags than Chinese military parade. Interesting. I don't like to short stocks, especially biotechs. But for Man, we'll give it a look. MNMD. MNMD. Having trouble with the charts. MNMD. NMMD. Shorting it for a few weeks. This is the weekly chart. Where might it find support? I think this is a key level that you're at right now. This low right here. 3. I couldn't make it out. 285. It looked like 285. So that's a key level, 285. It's horizontal. It's also about midway down that big green candle. This is a very, very, very beautiful level to take to to enter or to cover the short. I notice it's basically the bottom of the trading range. So yeah, I really like the level of the low today. Actually, might have worked 293 as opposed to what I say 283. Yeah, I think you're close to the point where I don't know where you started shorting it from. You said a few weeks, so you're probably making money. Covering at 285, yeah, 288, 286, 290. Why not cover it if you're making money on this? With a break of this, then you could be looking at much lower numbers. I understand that, but if you want to go for that, go for it. Then you got money. With a break of 285, it could drop to, let's say, 220s. But I don't love shorting stocks, so I'm not advocating that. Patrick, what does Patrick have to say? A novice question. Could someone tell me why there are only 2 employees for the entire company? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me, but I'm not going to argue with you. You said it's 2 employees, maybe so. And I don't have the answer that you're looking for. Dan is happy with my analysis. An update on ATHX, yes. I don't know the recent fundamentals because I've been out of it, but let's take a look at the chart. And I think the fundamentals are probably the same. We're probably still waiting on COVID odds data and so on, I would think. I would think that's true. Athesis. Athesis still may have its day sometime later this year. It's just that I don't think there's a rush to be back in it. I don't think there's a rush to be in almost any biotech. The averages look like they're about the same. The S&P down 0.95 now, so it's gotten worse. Dow down 0.69, NASDAQ down 1.9. Yeah, it's definitely selling off worse. This might, I don't want to call a top here, but it sure feels like one to me. So I'm not making an official call. It's just that, like I said, I just feel it's very toppy here. I'm not saying it's the start of a huge sell-off, but I think we could see 10 to 15% correction here from these levels. Athesis. I guess I am kind of calling a top if I'm saying that. It's very difficult to call a top, but I'm going to call it 10 to 15% off the highs on the Dow and the S&P. I'm calling a top. Why not? I just feel it. And it's because it's going to be when earnings come out on Amazon and they have another phenomenal quarter, it'll go down another 100 points. Because that's what happens when we're at a top. Good news doesn't seem to matter. Bad news is totally annihilated. So I think we just due for that kind of market, that sell-off. I'm putting in Athesis and nothing is happening. I don't know why. Slow today for a change. Arthur says, come on, load. There we go. It's spinning, it's doing something. We're down 2.5 pennies to 148.50. Let's see if there's any headline news. Arthur Sisto's second quarter financial results, August 9th. There's still probably no big catalyst, otherwise it would have been up more. But it's managed to bounce off the lows of like 136, wherever it was. So that's a good sign. Still waiting on COVID odds data from Japan. Still waiting on the last patient dose, I think. I don't think I've seen a headline on that. Well, I'm not sure. Because like I said, I haven't been following it day to day. The chart held this low of, well, what was the low that it made last week? 135. Wow, that was just last week. It's a very iffy chart. And the 9-day is resistance. It's the 50 is crossing the 200, so the 200 will be on top, and it's crossing the 100. I mean, this is just a yucky chart. Yucky chart. Yucky chart has been called. It's a yucky chart. So, based on the chart, is there any good news? Yes. There is one good technical factor. Last week, even though it put in a new low, I believe it's an engulfing candle. Let's see that. High of the day, 152. The week before, high of the week was 151. On the weekly, we have an engulfing. Last week's weekly candle engulfs the week before. And that's a very good sign considering we've been in a long downtrend. So we have a very good news, a very powerful candle at the end of a long downtrend last week. And it looks like it's trying to challenge the highs of last week. But we have a very weak stock market behind it this week, I believe. So it may pull back anyway. Let's take a look at the daily again. All right, in the daily, we don't see an engulfing candle. We see a high a week ago. One, two, three, Friday, Thursday. I think it's the Monday, last Monday, when all the markets sold off. It was as low as 135. So we bounced off that along with everyone else. And now we're forming new resistance, I believe, right about this level. So the resistance is definitely strong, right about that 152 high. So 135 to 152 is the new trading range for Athesis for now. That's how I see it. So I don't expect this thing to take off anytime soon. I don't even think the catalysts that we're waiting on are significant. So how significant is it if 5 COVID odds patients in Japan showed improvement after treatment? I don't know. And how significant is it if the last patient in the ischemic stroke trial was finally dosed? Still have to wait 6 months, so at least 3 to 6 months to get any data. So probably 6. And so you're looking at either the end of the year or the beginning of next year And the way they're so slow, probably the beginning of next year before you get that stroke data. So it seems to me like no rush on owning this. That's how it seems. But on the other hand, its trading range looks like it may hold for a while. So my answer to that would be trading range. And Professor Omar says it's too early to call a top. I think that's what he means. Tomorrow will tell more of the direction. Tomorrow always gives a better clue than today, but I'm still calling it today. Anovis had Maria. Dan is talking. Anovis had Maria and his CFO as the only employees for years. They outsourced everything. Now they are starting to hire going into phase 3. Okay, Patrick, there's your answer. Dan has the answer. Do we like Anovis? Yes. Should we look at the chart of Anovis? I think we should. I think we should look at the chart of Anovis. And I think we should call it a day after this. INVS. And Novus is down 6%, 107.28 or 7 points. It's been bouncing around, high volatility, put in a new high 3 days ago, and that high was at 132. We've already shaved off 25 points off that 132. And what we do have, though, is a nice sharp trend line that's just forming now. We have 3 touches, well, 2 touches. Let's see if we can get 3 touches. Yeah. Now we have 3 touches. Okay, so we have a trend line that is very, very sharp, that begins essentially from May 28th, when the low was 41.70, and the trend line is taking us all the way up. It's almost like a non-stop express train. This is a super powerful company. Everyone wants to own a piece. What I've said before, I'm going to say again: you buy a little bit at a time, and you shouldn't get hurt. I don't think, because this one has tremendous potential. We've had on someone from the phase 2 trial who was very enthusiastic about it. So we've got a little first-hand information on it. Look at how you can connect the highs on this one. The high on 521, 97.97. The high on 7.9, 125.91, and the high on 7.23, 132. It's the highs are basically forming their own trend line. This is very, very nice. We don't really. I like parallelism. I don't like these things to collide, because then generally they sell off. So in other words, if the upper trend line collides with the lower trend line, that's usually not very bullish. In any event, it's not, the cone is not yet complete, and I think we're okay. So I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to bounce off the top to the lower trend line, back to the top, back to the lower, until we come to a point where it's high enough that profits should be taken, maybe 150. So I could see this thing going to 150. Of course, if there's a huge market sell-off, all bets are off. And I am calling for 10 to 15% correction. Not the big one, but 10 to 15 is enough. How about NEO? I sold all my NEO, but I will short it. I sold it this morning. I couldn't take it anymore. I don't like losing money. And I was losing every day on NEO. So I sold this sucker. I sold XPEB. I sold NEO. And what a yucky red candle today, low of 38.86. I'd have no idea where I sold it at. I just got so disgusted. Before the show, sometime I sold. It's just ridiculous. The Chinese are killing the Chinese companies in the market. Baba, Tencent, all of them, XPEB. You can't own a Chinese stock right now until things get better. I think they will get better because, I mean, they don't want to kill off, they don't want to take huge chunks of market cap off of their companies. I don't know what they're thinking, but they're gonna have a change of heart because they're not stupid. So they're gonna realize what's happening and back off. In my estimation, why kill all their good companies? Why kill them? Doesn't make sense. But we're in a tremendous drop on NEO, and XPEB the same way. I wanted to look at CRISPR. Did we look at CRISPR? And Telia is another one. And Telia is getting killed. I don't know which one to show. We're in free fall with CRISPR. And Telia looks the same way. And Editas is the third one that is also in free fall. And Telia, I felt that we would split the difference between filling the gap and the low of the day here. The low of the day is 121. So I don't think we're done going down until we let me throw where I think we're going to turn around. I think we're going to turn around right about midway, right about $105, midway between the high of 625, which was 88.91, or the close 88.83. And the low of the day, the next day, 121. So 105 works. And it's also just about where the 50 is trading at. So maybe a little bit higher, 106 maybe. So I'm looking for a target where quite a bit below where we are now. The low of the day was 125. We're up to 130. So it does look like we're turning it around a little bit on the Telia. It's possible we hold this. If we can hold 121.66, all the better. But if we break 121.66, I see 105, 106. And Editas, similarly bad. The reason I'm just charting the three of them is because they're a group. They're the gene editing group. Along with Beam, it would be a fourth one. And this one again is in free fall, as they all are. From a high of $100, We hit a low today of 37.65. We're now at 38.69. So we're bouncing off the lows of the day on CRISPR, Editas, and Intellia. Let's see where they close, and that'll give us more of a clue. If they turn green, maybe that's the bottom. I mean, they've had a tremendous sell-off. They're due to stabilize, I think. Let's take a look at what support might be on Editas. Support on Editas might just be right in here at the high here. The high here on 614 was 38.88. So we're right about at support. Trading right about at support. All right, so I'm going to stop because I don't want to go five hours today. And we'll be back tomorrow for another half hour, I think. What does Omar say? He likes FUTU, Professor Omar. Oh, he changed his mind in 2 seconds. GBTC, I think you got to own a little Bitcoin, just like you got to own a little gold. How's that for a hedge? Andrew, Professor Omar, I'm in a similar boat as you. Are you tempted to back up the truck on FUTU? FUTU is of interest to Andrew and Omar. We'll pick that up tomorrow. FUTU is a discussion for tomorrow as we have to say goodbye. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up, please. And check out our merch page on stockpicks.com. And we're going to see you back here tomorrow at 11:30. Adios, amigos. This has been Dr. Jason Live from Long Island, New York. Love you all. Happy trading.